Good evening, Goats. How are you? Welcome to the Fantasy Goats YouTube channel. This is the Super Bowl reaction show. What a game. Untitled is here with us to break it down. The commissioner is here to
Good
break it
evening.
down. Good evening to you, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Stunned still, but
You're, you're,
I
still,
shouldn't be, and we'll find out why. But
you're,
I,
still,
yeah,
you're still stunned, huh?
I
my ears
shouldn't be.
finally stopped bleeding from the 5 minutes of the halftime show, but I'm doing good.
He just can't dance. He can't. Rappers can't dance. No, I don't know. I shouldn't. I shouldn't judge. The last thing anyone wants to see Untitled do is begin to try and dance. So no. But yeah, I love his music. He's got a great catalog, and we don't hear anything too outrageous. Just maybe give or take the last few weeks. Just what's any feuds or no? He seems like a good guy, and he put on a good family show, and I love it. And Serena, right? Whoa, that was a wild card.
I didn't even realize it was her.
Mine was muted. I muted mine.
I
I,
was checking my bets and making sure that pizza was coming. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was Serena. I do know about the feud between him and Drake, but other than that, I have no idea about any of his music until last night. We could at least, speaking for myself, I could have lived without that performance. It wasn't really a show to me, but again, let's get that
It's
out.
not football.
Yeah,
that's right.
we're done with the halftime show. I'm sure that Apple Music and the NFL will evaluate their decisions in terms of our halftime entertainment,
Yeah,
and they'll get us J-Lo and Shakira again.
Ooh.
I
Well,
didn't
that's
hate.
cool.
I didn't hate, but no.
I mean, to me, that's still one of the memorable ones.
I thought Usher just nailed it last year. Still,
Usher,
I mean, come on, that was
Look,
incredible.
Usher's good. Usher's good, and again, I think that has to do with performing and
Yeah,
dancing and this and that.
exactly.
Okay, so now that we got that out of the way,
Yes, we did.
we saw which will go down in terms of performances for a team as one of the master classes. As far
Good
as
Lord,
as
yeah.
far, yeah,
Hmm.
as far as I'm concerned, the Eagles put on a clinic, and I do want to get to my three biggest winners and one biggest losers. We'll get to that a little bit later because I do want to unpack this game, fellas.
All right.
Um,
Start unpacking.
Yeah,
well, I mean, look, when we say unpack, it usually entails like a lot of different things that one particular team did to the other and vice versa. But I mean, they're really, I mean, it was, again, as far as I'm concerned, it was a masterclass, but it was like in the
Yeah.
most simplest forms too. It wasn't anything like outrageous. Like, look, they got after Pat Mahomes not once, not twice. They sacked him 6 times. They hurried him maybe double that.
hmm
The amount of pressure that just four dudes put on him. That's all it really
I
took.
think the pressure rate was like 56%.
The pressure by four, right? By the
Yeah.
front four.
hmm
He was blitzed how many times?
No, he
Yeah.
was out of his comfort zone.
He was never
None. Zero. Zero.
zero.
Zero.
Zero. Zero times.
Yeah.
So you got to give a lot of credit to the unit in general, all 11 of them, that and the game plan put forth by the DC Vic Fangio. I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, they put together a plan that was like, you know what, we know what they're going to do. We know it. They're going to run. Whether it was Pacheco a couple of times pre-snap up and down the formation, or whether it was Xavier Worthy that was like in the I formation, or just or next to Pat Mahomes in the gun, and then to spring him out, again, motion.
Hmm.
They had all of that covered and then some. What And all right, I mean, we're talking about the Eagles defense again. My hat's off to all. My hat is off
Killer.
to all of them. Um, Now to the other side of the ball, the Eagles offense. They exactly what we thought the Chiefs were going to do. They were going
Yeah.
to sell out to stop Saquon, which for the most part they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They held them to what 56 ground 56 on the ground.
57 yards on 25 attempts for a 2.28 average, and his longest was 10.
Yeah.
Well, how many attempts was that?
25. Actually got the work, but
He,
they,
he
I mean, it'll all come out, but like they definitely, the defense focused on him for sure.
They made him go towards the middle.
Yeah, not only like you said it yesterday, they didn't need to bottle him up.
Uh-huh.
I saw something else too. Because they didn't blitz, there was nobody absent in any gaps or assignments, which meant everyone was home. So not only was he bottled up, he was funneled, if you will. And the athlete that he is, he can bounce it outside or bust a seam in the middle. Those spaces just didn't exist because we saw actually the KC defense at times played okay. It was just a lot of mental mistakes on offense that they capitalized absolutely on, and it just turned the whole game script, everything. But yeah, he was shut down, if you will.
and the game had to go through Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Hurts' legs.
Which is again, I'm happy for the Eagles. I'm also happy for the fact of how we kind of laid the groundwork for this victory as well, like what needed to be done, and like okay, if you were going to pay attention and make Saquon the focal point of your defense, then you also have Jalen Hurts to worry about and the passing game, and it wasn't so much of the short and intermediate passes. Well, yes, that was the majority of it. There was really just there was two, I believe, deep shots.
One of Devontae Smith was just a beautiful throw, man.
I was just happy when that happened because I was just like everyone under the sun was calling for that one.
So was I. I was very happy.
Yeah,
but
that was a bomb.
That was the dagger shot.
Yeah.
Well, no sooner than that. Before that, Brady was. I mean, they were saying like, "Well, we're gonna kill some clock. Let's see what happens here," and just like, nope.
Yeah, Brady was surprised.
He was. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was the whole point, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole point. Just like you just said, Untitled. It was like okay.
That's how you beat teams like that.
Yeah.
How you beat teams like that.
We saw something else too that
you put their foot on their neck and stomp.
That was that. Like I said, that I mean, I call it the kill. That was the kill shot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, again, 40-22. Okay, and you know how we say often that the score is a lot closer than the game actually was. Well, I think even in this case,
60-0.
Right? Even in this freaking case, a 40-22, 18-point difference. And this wasn't even as close as the game really played out.
Worthy bomb ruined so many days for so many of us, probably. But that actually got me. I broke even because of that. In all my DFS slates, I made a crisp Andrew Jackson, and that's all I had going on the slates yesterday because that was actually all I could afford to lose because
Andrew Jackson. Well,
I pushed because of that reception, and it was just that was kind of like the. Yeah, we're mad. We'll be back.
So I'll say this too about, we talked about the one weakness that Kansas City had was the offensive line, and they just ran through them. Mm-hmm. But again, if they would have had a decent running game, that would have helped them.
I got the stats right. It was jarring. So
yeah, just big time jar. They couldn't do shit.
Mahomes was the rushing leader in attempts, yards, average, and long.
Yeah, but he didn't get me he came 5 yards short of me winning $100.
Kareem 3 attempts, 9 yards. Samaj 1, Pacheco 3. Nothing. It was just I had a thought about it as they really couldn't get set. They were just like scrambling, and at that point, I mean, especially the Cooper DeJean pick six was like, the nail. It was more or less the wow for me. And at that point, I remember something that you said, Siegs, yesterday. Like we were running through the list, like O-line, defense is key. And where okay. So I looked at it and I was like, collectively, Hurts, Saquon, AJ, and Devonta are better than Mahomes, Hunt, Worthy, and Hollywood. And it was just like, not only that, like not just a little bit better, but a lot better. And there was a lot more going on than just that. But if you were looking at that alone, it's like I should have seen much more of a closer game.
What we were looking at is you were looking at a top five. A top five offensive line versus a bottom five offensive line.
Exactly.
That's why if Hurts was playing behind Kansas City's offensive line, it would have been the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. I don't care how good the quarterback is. If you have a trash O line and you're getting rushed all the time, you're not gonna have a good game. Even the great Tom Brady, every time he had a bad game is when he had pressure.
Just get in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the pick six because it's you said something that's interesting. Okay, so like the offensive line didn't hold up. We all know that they caused sacks. It was 2 sacks, I believe, that Mahomes they got to him twice on that drive. So now it's 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and pretty much backed up into the end zone, and rather, I guess maybe hand the ball off, or maybe just get it into the flat, get out of there on 4th down, live for another drive. So Mahomes now know that the offensive line is like failing him, and he's already You already get that sense just on TV. You get that sense, right? The O-line is failing him. He's got to now come out. He's got to scramble. He's flushed right, okay? And we've seen him make this play dozens of times, right? So he's on the run and he throws it. Well, he threw it across his body. He's trying to throw it to get at least enough yardage. And what winds up happening? Yeah. Cooper DeJean just sitting there. He didn't really have to jump that much into the route into the line, but jumped it, got it, and then how about this? And then
the next series.
Next pass.
Here's another microcosm I got for you in terms of this offensive line. So now basically he's a little ahead of midfield, all right, and we know he's a punt returner. And okay, so now he's making his way towards the end zone. Now the wide receivers, these are the quickest dudes. These are the only guys that have the ability to maybe catch him at this time. And then now, and everybody that's ahead or in front of Cooper DeJean is getting bullied. The linemen are getting bullied and blocked all over the place, and that leads him to just basically scamper in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the offensive line just absolutely,
they didn't know what to do. To your point, it was just
they failed them. They failed.
They shit the bed.
Yeah, they were in uncharted territory, in so much as leading up then to piggyback off what you just said. When was it the next pass attempt? Was the next pick? That's when I saw one thing: spiraling. I haven't seen spiraling even in the darkest of hours, at the 11th of minutes. I have not seen them sweat like that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, spiraling now."
The unraveling. I kind of sensed the same thing. Basically, you saw it out of Andy Reid on the sideline, and again, there was still the sense. Even then, again after the Cooper DeJean, I believe is the AJ Brown touchdown. Okay, so now AJ Brown has his first touchdown, and it's about 27-0 at this point,
something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm still saying to myself, all right, or when we had our exchange, Rhino, I still am a bit skeptical,
right?
Because who's to say they don't come out of this half They make the adjustments. I'm thinking to myself, well, it was 28-3.
Same.
Falcons Patriots. I
That's
mean,
all
like,
I was thinking about.
right? So I still didn't want to, just like write this game and put it in the books until we saw the third quarter, and the Eagles' possession, not their first possession, but I believe their second one, off of again. I think was it off of another turnover? Hold on.
They had the interception by Zach Braun, and then they had the sack strip.
It
I
was
think the sack strip
Yeah.
was early
Which
before, wasn't it?
it's funny. I'm glad
no,
you
no,
brought
no.
that up because I'm surprised that Mahomes wasn't like
That's not the
banged
play
up
I'm
after
thinking
that.
of.
That was a violent play.
the,
Arms
the,
got
the play I'm thinking of, or the set of sequence that I'm thinking of that led to the Devontae dagger was, KC came out at halftime. They got the ball. They had a punt. They got them 3 and out already. Good sign. Eagles then kicked the field goal. So, okay, now the score is what? It's probably 30-0 at this point. KC has to go for it on 4th down at this point. And it's not 4th and 1, I'm pretty sure. It was like 4th and 5, 4th and 6, when Philly then got the ball back on the turnover on downs. Now you're thinking, as we just spoke about a little while ago, okay, now they're going to they're going to try to kill the clock. They're going to hand the ball off.
Nope.
That was the dagger play to Devontae. And that pretty much sealed it. After that, we got garbage points. We could talk more about, again, if there's a bright spot here on this team, not named Pat Mahomes, it would be Xavier Worthy, who wound up, having a good, at least a good box score. If you go to some other like, stations, or some of, like, the NFL Network people pointing out that, none of these dudes were able to separate for the majority of the game. None of them. They were covered upon being covered. Hollywood Brown couldn't get open if his life depended on it.
No one stepped up.
DeAndre Hopkins, no one. Juju, Jimmy Smith-Schuster couldn't get open. We're gonna talk, goats that are watching this on our Fantasy Goats YouTube channel. Please give us a like and subscribe. We're going to be talking a lot about, teams, what they need to do in the offseason, and fantasy implications and all of that and whatnot. We got plenty of content in store for you. So we will get into the amount that the Chiefs are going to do now this offseason, in terms of not just, you have a handful amount of skill position players that are free agents, and they're gone.
Remember when everyone was like, what the heck are they doing when they got rid of Tyreek? And it's like, how can they get that type of production replacement? And we found out that, of course it matters. You can't replace Tyreek, but you can still win Super Bowls if you know what you're doing.
They had Rashid Rice last year too. Rice.
I did. I had that thought earlier today, was how would yesterday's game have looked different if they had Rice and Worthy lining up? And then I was like, dude, they don't even go down that rabbit hole.
The only thing I'll say to that is, I don't think he would have made that much more of a difference.
Not with Banjo's defense yesterday.
Right. I think it would have been maybe a couple of plays, or a couple of drives may have gotten extended.
Like that Worthy game ender, maybe something like that didn't matter. I don't know. But
I'm sorry, Rhino. I don't think this was really a case for we need speed. There was just the Eagles were just in positions that caused, Mahomes to, like, make errant throws, like a throw that went into the dirt. He tried to hit Kelsey on. Like it was just like he was off kilter. So, like, maybe Rashid Rice, maybe going across the middle may have added maybe a different dimension. Right? I think he would have helped in certain situations, or he would have maybe extended a couple of different drives at different times. I don't think the result would have been that much different than what we saw.
No, it wouldn't, because it was a perfectly orchestrated defensive performance, one for the ages. It was just like everything was not only was it was a perfect storm of Mahomes didn't have a great game. We all know that, but he was just so perfectly schemed for that it was just he could probably tell by the way he was walking what kind of play he was going to call. Like I don't think I've ever seen he had the chip on his shoulder from the previous from 2022, and they talked about it all broadcast. But it was just it was awesome to see. Someone I played anytime that I ever got near a football field, but it was always defense for me. I didn't play any offense whatsoever, and it's like I love just defensive performances, and I thought that one was a masterpiece.
Yes, you brought up a good point about the separation. So
Mhm.
the receivers recover so good. Mahomes had to hold on to the ball longer than expected.
Yeah.
So if his receivers were able to separate, it might have been a whole different story because he'd be able to get the ball out quicker, a lot quicker. But when so I'll give kudos to the young DBs because I thought they might have jitters, but man, those boys balled out. Every one of them balled out, man. The whole team.
Your confidence.
It's almost.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, they said, you know what? Are you kidding me? You think you expect me to be worried about Hollywood Brown?
Yeah.
You expect me to be worried about Xavier Worthy? Now again, he may have had the best game out of all of them, right? But
Yeah, by far.
again, the 14 points, 7 of them came. One of those deep bomb was in garbage time against second stringers, backups.
Mm-hmm.
They were pouring Gatorade on at that point.
254.
Crazy.
Mahomes hits Hopkins at 254 left in the fourth, and then 148 Mahomes hits Worthy left in the fourth. And to your point earlier, if you look at just the score, it was 7-0, 10-0, 17-0, 24, 34. Then it's 34-6, 37-6, 46, 40-14. It's just at no point was there ever any. I think I hung on too long. Going into the half, I was like, well, we saw this with Atlanta and New England.
In that third quarter, good Lord, me and my best friend watched games like, holy crap, there's 5 minutes left in the third quarter. That third quarter went by fast.
I looked at it at
like,
7.5.
Like, I told my brother, man, I was like, dude, it's over, bro.
I was surprised that they didn't mention that because they were kind of taking a while to snap the ball there. And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it's 7.5 now that the quarter is halfway done. And that was a long they had a plan.
Between the two first possessions of the third quarter. So KC punted 3 minutes off the clock. Philadelphia's field goal took 6 minutes and 42 seconds off the clock. So that's 9 minutes. 9 minutes came off of the clock in the third quarter, and then KC spent another 2 minutes, going four and out, not 3 and out, 4 and out. And then 7 seconds off the clock was the bomb to Devontae. That's when to me, and that was the dagger for me. That's when I knew that this game was over.
I'm surprised that they didn't bring out like how Buffalo does sometimes, bring out the 6 offensive linemen, to help Mahomes. And they say Kelsey blocks, but I don't know.
Kelsey looked about 45 yesterday.
Yeah,
he looked about 45.
They don't have like a good blocking tight end.
Noah Gray's not it yet.
No, he's not.
No, not at all.
Not for a blocking assignment.
One reception yesterday, and I was talking about how he was, his usage is going up and up and up and up, and I was, maybe that could be the guy. And I thought again, how many of these guys can be the guy? And then I was just like, well, Philly has the guys.
Yeah.
What many pundits were talking about in terms of the line was the biggest thing that may have hurt the Chiefs was Joe Tooney moving positions and then having Caliendo playing what Tooney's position used to be, which I believe is tackle. So then Tooney moving inside and him playing on the outside. They said that may have been the one thing that hurt that line the most. And then I did hear, or you know what? There's a really good film guy that I was watching last night. Jackson Kruger. Not sure if you guys have heard of Jackson Kruger. He should get his props because he put together a bunch of good stuff last night. God, he must. If he doesn't have a staff of people doing it, then God bless him. But what he also pointed that out. I know that, like, you know what, where you might as well just empty out the clip on every lineman that you have and see what the hell might potentially help and work. Not just stick with the 5 that you know that are the starters.
What are they hanging on to at that?
Right. What you might. It's like you might as well throw it all up against the wall. That's right. Yep. So that's an excellent point. And kudos to that guy who actually showed us in terms of, like, you know, the actual the game tape. And look, again, I know a lot of this is okay. We're kind of like, you know, we're putting salt on the open wound on Kansas City Chiefs. You know, look, the Eagles absolutely played out of their minds. They absolutely played out of their minds. Jalen Hurts. A lot of the not backstory, but, you know, more coming to light on, like, a lot of doubters and naysayers, and then they're reflecting now on how he felt after the 2022 Super Bowl. And I didn't really think there was much disrespect or hate. Like, look, the dude is he's 26 years old, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
you're lucky that he was playing in the Super Bowl then. He got back this quickly, and kudos that they got the job done. Kudos to Sirianni. Kudos to all of them that got the job done. Saquon may have really propelled them, but you can't.
But speaking to that, the dynasty rankings today, you have Allen still 1.
He may have been bumped.
Mahomes 2, Lamar 3. Stroud 4, and then, Hurts 4, Stroud 5, Burrow 6, and so if you look at still Hurts, who he's behind, the knock on him always is his passing ability, and it's forcing me to go back and look at least, you know, hey, I mean, those guys were at home yesterday. You know, I have blinders on for fantasy for what I do or what we do, and not only was he killer for fantasy, but I mean, it won the Super Bowl yesterday, and it's just, he needs to be respected as a top 5 option moving forward on all levels.
Without question.
He does
higher.
He does it quietly.
Yes.
Without question. We saw attempts get reduced because of Saquon, but he always still had it with the legs. He always had the opportunity with his tush push, brotherly shove. Only one. That's all they really.
I was going to ask, how many did they? I only saw one.
One. That's all they needed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to roll it out. They had the Chiefs. They had that Chiefs defense figured out. Again, the offense, as much as we'd like to say that the Eagles defense had the Chiefs offense figured out, then just flip the coin.
And I mean,
but the Chiefs defense didn't do
enough
that bad, though. You know, they didn't do that bad. They didn't do horribly bad.
He's capitalized completely, absolutely. The Eagles did, and I mean, and speaks to your point where it says Hurts, they did limit it. He only had 22 attempts, but he completed 17 of them, and his QBR was still 129.92. That's protecting the football and getting it done. Still, like, he did throw a pick.
Yeah,
he did throw the pick, but
they were They were a little taxed. They had to be on the field. They had to be on the field, you know, a little bit more than they wanted to be. All right. I mean, look, again, one for the ages. The Chiefs did not get the 3-peat. I'm very excited about that. That's going to lead me to my 3 biggest winners of the game. Not any particular player, okay? So it's not what you think, gentlemen. But my 3 biggest winners from this game. That's right. That's right. Because
I like it.
the
I like that.
the blueprint is out, and it's not a crazy blueprint either.
Mm-mm.
It's like, yo, how about we get let's get some pressure on this guy. Let's knock him off balance. Let's play good man coverage against. Well, it won't be the same.
And 2 of those teams, the Broncos and Chargers, have always played the Chiefs really good.
I love those late AFC matchups where that they're going to play each other.
Here's what else. Well, I mean, they
Usually.
they do play. You do play within the division tighter, yes. But here's what else this is going to do for these guys. These other 3 teams. Now they're the ones that have a hangover. The Chiefs are now, we lost. They're deflated. They are coming in with a lot of different personnel. They're going to lose players, not just add them. They've played a lot of games. If we expect the Chiefs to lose few more games, and when I'm using that word nicely, a few, then the Chiefs don't necessarily have that 1 seed anymore. The Chiefs the Chiefs may not win this division anymore. Hence, those are the 3 big winners right now.
Yeah. You can add Buffalo to that list too.
Any of those 3 teams in their division, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, are looking at last night's game like, look, we have an opportunity now. All we need to do is just win the division. Let's get the division. We can win this division now. The Chiefs may still very well may get the wild card. But
yeah, and to your point too, so that's 6 games right there. And if he's figured out 6 times, that plays into that's how they don't get the 1 seed is if they drop 4 of those. Now they're staring down 4 losses, and they're going to get another 1 or 2. So now they're 11-win team, which to me as a Bears fan, like, it's like, oh yeah, they'll just be settling as an 11-win squad. I'm like, okay. If that's failure, then
no, and again, it's just the odds get stacked a little bit more against you at this point.
I'm looking forward to the next narrative of Mahomes' legacy. Like, I mean, where's he going to pivot to here, to go next to here? We've seen him just step up, and like you said, it's going to take some time before maybe they climb back into that one. I think maybe they find a way to be relevant in the playoff picture for at least obviously moving forward. But what do they do now?
I think
how great is he?
It's a good point. It's a great take, and he's going to have to come to. Well, not that he's necessarily at crossroads now, but he's going to have to take a good hard look in the mirror. I would think so, and look at that film.
If he were 30. It would be a little more steeper of a conversation, but at 28,
like there's a bunch of shit that I don't see him, or I don't peg him really to to put the blame onto somebody else. Like, man, we had no wide receivers, or man, we had absolutely no. I don't see that from him. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he made some bad decisions. He turned the ball over. He was busy running for his life, running backwards, running the long way, running ovals. Where, forget it.
And Brady said it a couple of times last night about this is the exact same thing that happened to him when they lost against the Buccaneers. They had a crap O-line, and he was running for his life, and he made mistakes.
Yeah, and he's not going to complain about his weapons or receivers.
No, I don't see that.
How is it different from last year, really?
I don't see that.
Rice Worthy, that's the difference. But they offset. One's there, one's not. Still Kelsey.
But Orlando Brown was there last year.
Pacheco was Pacheco last year.
Tackle too. They had a better offensive line last year.
Oh yeah, no, I mean more like the weapons.
Yeah.
Just like Mahomes when it's like okay, but no, it was all the O-line.
Back to those dynasty rankings real fast, though, Untitled. Like, I don't even know how they have Mahomes that high, to be quite honest with you. I
was
mean,
wondering that myself.
Maybe because of consistency, the fact that, you have just, you probably have the highest floor out of any quarterback there, but, I mean,
I'm going to him right now again
Frank,
just to make sure.
you went that way, and you said Stroud's name before Jaden Daniels' name. I was like,
Okay, so
yeah.
the dynasty rankings are updated, and since I had seen them last night, is Allen, Lamar, Jaden, Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes, Herbert, Stroud,
That
May,
sounds
West.
about all right. That
It's
makes,
about what I thought it should be
Yeah.
too, and I'm a freak. As soon
that
as the
sounds
game's
better.
over, I'm like, where are the rankings? Why are they not updated? Because he needs to be much higher or
That
lower.
sounds
He needs
better.
to be closer to the top. He has an amazing performance, and I need to reevaluate how I view him as just one of those elite options because I hadn't. And I'm a Burrow guy. That's my favorite. I think he's the best true passer
yeah.
in the game. But Hurts, I mean, legs, arm, game,
That's
flow.
Joe Shiesty right there. That's my guy.
Mhm.
General Shiesty. All right, and before we go, we've got one big loser, and it's not the Kansas City Chiefs. The biggest loser, aside from them, would be this team.
Yeah.
Is he's taking a look
Like what
at
happened?
he's taking a look at what they just did to the Kansas City Chiefs, and him, his son, his anyone else in that department, personnel, front office, like they are nowhere near that team.
Mm-mm.
No.
They've got CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons for crying out loud.
And they're talking about trading Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and
They are nowhere even close to the Eagles personnel. So
And
I
then
mean,
they hired Ken Dorsey as offense coordinator. This is Dorsey's freaking third team, and he's always
I think
gotten fired.
I think why they would kick themselves more too is just the comparison of game style between Hurts and Prescott into like similar skill sets. Like they can run with it, they can pass it, and it's not like they're the same or a mold of each other, but they bring a lot of the same elements forward, and they could be, oh, we could have won with that, is what I'm getting at. Like we could have done that, but I don't think they can. I don't think he is that guy, but there's a lot of people that said Hurts wasn't the guy. So
I think the Cowboys, and I'm not necessarily implying that they're going to wind up in the exact same situation with the exact same record as they did this past season, because we all know that the amount of turnover in the NFL is tremendous. So by all means, the Cowboys could very well be improved, and it may reflect. They may make the playoffs, but again, it's going to take a lot. It will take an absolute home run free agency, an absolute grand slam of a draft for the rookies that they do select to actually like pan out and be impactful this season, and it's going to take improvements in a lot of different areas for the Cowboys to be able to even come close to what we just saw from the Eagles, and they will also need help. They will need the Eagles to perhaps regress in any way, shape, or form. So that's my biggest loser, other than the Chiefs, would be the Cowboys. Taking a look at their division rivalry, Eagles, like, oh my God, they just won. They just won 2 Super Bowls in the last 5-6 years, 3 appearances, 2 wins, and we haven't won one since like Beverly Hills 90210 was a thing. All right, well, gentlemen, I think that's all that we got for today.
Yeah.
I do want to. I do at some point very soon. We will unpack what each team in the league needs to do in free agency, how they will improve,
Yeah.
absolutely, we will. Yeah.
what they need to do, in terms of free agents to sign, whether it be their own or ones that they might be able to lure into their organizations, and what their fantasy impacts will be also. Um,
Yeah, and there's just so many things that are going to factor in between now and then. Like, I mean, there's obviously there's trade. Remember when trades never really were a thing, but now trades are just on the table all the
that's
time.
very true.
Yeah, and one thing that I like to focus on, especially after the draft and leading up to redraft season, is just how many signings occur that players aren't drafted as undrafted free agents. Just if you want to win in this game, you have to win, and you have to hit in the draft. You have to hit in free agency. You have to have a good person with the money tell you what you can and can't go over on. But you got to hit those undrafted free agents as well. And the coaching, back to the Cowboys point, and that's assume that everyone else they put in place there, that's going to work out too.
Of
Not
course,
just the players, because it's like the players and the coaches have to gel with each
of
other.
course.
And Cincinnati found out when you can't just replace players or people, you could still have the majority of the people around you that you need, but it takes time to develop and gel, and then it turns into something.
Another one of the heroes of yesterday's Super Bowl win was Howie Roseman. I mean, like it goes all the way from the top, all the way down to your
Your janitor.
your field goal kicker. Yeah, pretty much. All right, Rhino. What else do we got? Anything?
One last bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Philadelphia because this is going to be their fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years. Because Kellen Moore is going to be gone. And who does he take from that team too? Assistant wise.
Coached. So yesterday, after you've won, please check all of your materials before leaving the office.
Yeah.
I know they were trying to get him to stay or chance of running it back. I don't know if that's I don't know why you would want to go to freaking New Orleans. I really don't. But I guess you want to be a head coach. Yeah, that's the only
the big C.
That's the only reason. Other than that team is that. Again, we'll say that for another show, GOATs, when we get into each team, each division, so on and so forth. Look out for the fantasy football content that's just around the corner. I think we'll be back, I believe, later on this week for the rookie draft prospects.
Running back season.
Looking forward to that. It's running back season, wide receiver
season.
Well, the running backs because of the amount that there are and the talent that's coming out of this draft class. Yes.
So many to sift through. It's too many toys.
That's why we're here. Look, the off season has officially begun, but not for us. There is no off season. But until then, GOATs, we will see you soon.
Good night.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Be a difference.
Be a difference.
Exactly.
And make a difference.